Hello. So, quite some time ago, I did a video where I talked about some of my favorite video game sequels. In cases where I feel like the sequel or the second one was better than the first game. So I thought let's take a look at some of my sequels that of games that are like they're good, but not as good as the first one. So let's get right into it. The first one, Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. I'm just kidding. This game is amazing. So is the first one. I don't think I could pick between the two of them. Now the first one is a game that some of you may not have really ever heard of. It's Drawn to Life, the next chapter. Now, to my recollection, there was only two of these games that were on the DS from THQ. I haven't played these in years. So the plot I'm kind of drawing a blank on, but what I remember is that there are action platformers where you make your own character, your own weapons, your own items, your own obstacles, and stuff to decorate the town and stuff like that. And there's a variety of ways to do it, which you can kind of see on the back there. There's kind of an example. Right. Yeah. Anyway, but there's you can draw everything yourself. You can use pixel art, or there's templates for things. I always remember to mix and match, and this one, the sequel, I remember being kind of disappointed with it. It had a lot more features, and stuff, items and stuff, than the first one, but I don't know, I just remember it not being as good as the first one, at least in my opinion. Next one is Tiny Toon Adventures 2, Trouble in Wacky Land. Now, when it comes to Tiny Toon games, there's a lot of them across various consoles, and, there's a few on the NES, and, well, that's the thing. The first NES game was your basic platformer. You had you played as Buster trying to rescue Babs, and you pick a different character. A different partner for each world. Between Furball, Plucky, and Dizzy, which each of them have their own unique abilities, and so on and so forth. Then the sequel, NES wise, it's more of it's kind of cool because you can play as different characters, and it's you pick each one, each character has a different type of level. There's a roller coaster one that's you have to sit on a platform that's going up and all around, and you have to duck and jump and things like that. There's one that's a log ride type of thing. So it's kind of cool because it's they did something different than the first one, but I don't know. I think the first one was a lot better because it's I feel like Tiny Toon games just work a lot better as platformers. Hell, I think the best one is the one on the Genesis, Buster's Hidden Treasure. Anyway, next, Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus. Now, Wolfenstein was a series that I always knew of, but I just never really got into, and then quite a few years ago, I heard about what they were doing with the franchise, the new take on it, the reboot and stuff. And I'm like, that sounds kind of cool. I'll have to check it out. So, I got the New Order and Old Blood, and then, later when this came out, I bought this when it came out, I should say. But, yeah, Old Blood was good and all that. It was very good, actually. But that aside, the New Order was absolutely amazing. It just... honestly, it was one of the best games of the 2010s, and quite possibly one of my favorite games, one of my top 10 favorite games of all time. But the sequel, or the direct sequel, the New Colossus, excuse me, it was okay. At least compared to the New Order, the story was, again, compared to the first one, the New Order, and the New Order was I know I keep saying that, that game was the story was just a lot better, and it was a much more emotional and stuff, but this one is just kind of, plus the end was a little bit anticlimactic, so to speak. Like, there's a character, I'm drawing a blank on her name, this Nazi officer lady who she's in both games, and she's one of those people that I think everyone has at least one video game they played where there's like a villain that you're like, oh, I can't wait to kill this person. That's how she was with me, and I'm sure a lot of other people who played these games. And so it's like you do, well, you kill her at the end of this one, but it's like it's like satisfying, but it's also kind of just like that was it. Like, it's just like she's dead, and it's like, okay. Whereas in the first game, Wolfenstein: The New Order, at the end you fight Death's Head at the end. He's like in this giant robot mech, and it's just like an awesome battle, finale, so to speak. Whereas this one, it's just like there's no real end boss or anything. It's just that, like, just she's dead, and it's over. That's it. So, last one. Sorry, my allergies are acting up again. I had to go through a lot of dust to dig out some of these games. Anyway, the last one, Vandal Hats 2. Now, Vandal Hats is a game that I've talked about quite a bit on this channel, especially the first one. Oh, fucking allergies. Anyway, Vandal Hats. I'm just going to do, like, kind of a comparison between the two. Like, I think that's the best way to describe it. So, first off, both games, Vandal Hats and Vandal Hats 2, they're both very story-driven, but I feel like the story in the second one is a little bit harder to follow. Both of them have, like, really big twists and stuff, but the first one does it a little bit better. The next thing is the, what was I going to say? Well, probably one of the biggest things is the gameplay. See, the first one is like your typical strategy game. It's like you have the player phase where you move all your characters, and then the enemies controlled by the computer all move. And so, in this one, it's like, it's really weird. It's like, when you move a character, one of the enemies moves. So it's like if you go to move and attack someone, that same person might move, and that enemy, I should say, might move, and it's a pain in the ass. Another thing is the amount of characters. See, the first one had, both games start you with 3 characters, and then more join the party over time. So with the first one, you eventually have 12 characters. The second one, you eventually have 9. And there's also some other, like, characters that join you temporarily, but that's kind of beside the point. And this leads me to the next thing. The first game, like a lot of strategy games, has classes. And there's, like, your typical ones, like swordsman, archer, mage. And the other thing is you, like, upgrade them, so to speak, or when they reach level 10, you can change their class. So, like, for example, an archer could be a stronger archer who can shoot further, or you can make them into a flying character. A mage, you can make them into a more powerful mage with stronger spells, or you can make them into a monk who's kind of the same as a swordsman, but they can learn, but weaker, and they know some magic. Then, with the second one, it's very different, which is kind of cool in a way, because it's like, there's no classes, it's just different armor and weapons and stuff, so it's like you can kind of make the characters however you want. So it's like you say, like, alright, I'm gonna make this person a swordsman, so I'll give them armor, and then a sword and a shield. Then another character would be like, oh, I'm gonna make this an archer, so I'll give them, like, a lighter outfit and then the bow and arrow. And what's kind of cool is the armor and the weapons, you can actually see it when they're equipped with it, which is something you didn't see in the other game. Or the first one, I should say. And then, another thing is, the way, like, magic works, and magic and techniques, it's really weird. Because it's like in the first game, it's like, obviously, like, the mages and stuff, like, no spells. in this game, the way it works is every weapon and like every weapon from swords, axes, spears, bow and arrows, even shields, learn a spell or a technique. So it's like, basically, if somebody is equipped with a sword, maybe it can learn, well, one of the swords, it can learn a spell like, or a technique like Thunder Slash. So it's like once they have it long enough, they'll master that technique, and then you can transport that technique to another sword. The same with like, staves or wands, whatever you want to call them. Like one might learn a healing spell, another one will learn a fire spell, another one will learn like an ice spell, and then you can transfer those all onto another one, so you have all those techniques onto another one. I know it's confusing, but you get used to it after a while, and it's kind of, it's interesting because it's different. Another thing is, and this might be kind of more of a minor thing, but one of the reasons these games were rated M was because of the blood. In the first game, the blood, it's like when you kill an enemy, blood shoots up in the air like a geyser. Whereas in this one, when you kill an enemy, it's just kind of just like little sprinkles of blood. It's like a little disappointing, so to speak. But yeah, that's about it. One thing I will say though is that that actually is better is that the animation in this game is a lot smoother than the first one. But other than that, it's like, Oh, and one more thing is that the way the map is. See, the first game, it's like most strategy games, it's just like, chapter. So like you have one chapter and it's like this whole area, like level, you play this level, then you go to the town, then you play another level and you go back to the town. You can go back and forth between the town, and then like you obviously can't replay the levels and stuff. Whereas in the second one, it's just one big whole map with like towns and cities and villages, different levels and stuff that you can actually replay the levels and stuff. It's kind of interesting, but yeah, other than that, like I said, the first one is definitely better. The second one is good, but the first one's definitely better. So, like, those are just some sequels that I think were good, but not as good as the first game. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.